Guys, Ryan Biddulph here, blogging from paradise during a night walk. So it looks a little Blair Witchy, doesn't it? But I figure, what the heck? Something to switch things up a little bit. Now, there's two concepts, dudes and dudettes, that you really want to embrace to move up in blogging circles. One of which really centers itself on being empathetic or compassionate towards successful bloggers. So many times you're thinking of this in terms of the other direction, when you're thinking, oh, I want to be empathetic and compassionate with struggling bloggers. Well, what about the super busy blogger who, even if they're running a successful business, has thousands of things to do every day, or at least hundreds of people to meet, thousands of people to meet. Sometimes people send me stuff and they obviously do not know what it feels like to be busy, because they'll email me back 10 minutes later, have you read this yet? And guys, shit, I've been there. I know what that feels like. In the same regard though, when you cultivate the art of being compassionate for all human beings, ones that have had more success, you could put yourself literally in their shoes so you can understand why, say, if somebody sends you a response to some roundup, and it's pretty beefy, but the person's busy as shit, and then email them back and you say, hey, I need a longer response than that. Well, Jesus, damn, be grateful you got the response from someone like Neil Patel, or someone like Zach Johnson, or, not quite as well known as those guys, but if I respond, obviously I have a decent name in my blogging niche, so hell, why not be grateful that I responded, and understand that folks like myself can't write War and Peace length responses when you reach out to them. Have some compassion, understand what it's like to be busy, understand what it feels like, even though I love what I do, to really be in my shoes, and you realize that we're short and sweet for a really good point. So that's number one. Number two, you have to feel out, to move up in blogging circles, your deepest fears. And this is something that few bloggers want to do. They're so focused on just trying to overcome obstacles, trying to overcome resistance, trying to overcome their biggest struggles. A lot of dogs out tonight. What is that? Some type of shorebird or some sort. But they're so focused, and these are bloggers on the come up, but this is how you move in blogging circles, on trying to overcome their fears, or trying to overcome obstacles, or trying to find ways around them, where if you just sit with the fear that causes the struggle and you feel it, it'll feel really shitty. Like I talk about eating an energetic shit sandwich, but guess what happens? When you feel the fear, you clear it. And when you clear the fear, you move forward from that really fun-loving, compassionate, super energetic space. When you move forward from that real super compassionate, energetic, fun-loving space, you'll start doing successful things and backing it with successful energy, which will promote your success. It's a tough concept to get, guys. I understand, because most bloggers are just not going to tell you to dive into their fears. They're going to talk about avoiding it, they're just trying to solve it. And when you feel the fear, say if you're having problems generating blog traffic or generating blogging profits, well, it's pretty simple. There's an intense fear there around guest posting, around letting go other topics so you can get clear on your blog. There's a big fear around commenting on blogs. You're going to be wasting your time doing it, promoting other bloggers. Well, I can't promote them. I'm busy with promoting myself. I got to take care of A1. That's what everybody always taught me. What hyper successful bloggers taught you that? Happy hyper successful bloggers. Ooh, shadows. So guys, I just want to do a little longer form video, something different on my walk tonight. Usually I pull back completely, but it was two ideas that came to mind. It helps you move up in blogging circles. Number two, like I just said, when you feel that fear, oh, get sun down in the background. Whatever fuels your struggles, every obstacle, every struggle is fueled by a fear of yours. Stop. But beyond that, oh, I better look down. Funny if I fell flat on my face, right? I'd laugh. You feel the fear, it feels unpleasant, you feel terrified, you feel scared, you feel angry, whatever it is. But when you clear that out, you're going to come from such a more high energy, inspired space that will help you move into action on good advice and reap sweet results. But beyond that, that's what I was getting to. Cultivate compassion for successful bloggers. And compassion doesn't necessarily mean this idea of, oh, I really feel sorry for their pain, as much as it just means you know what it feels like to be in their shoes. And even super successful bloggers who love what they do, like, okay, I'm an established pro blogger, I love what I do. But when you're more compassionate and you're more grateful, number one, that makes you grateful. And number two, looking out for sewers, you will understand that I'm busy. So you're going to appreciate any correspondence. You're going to appreciate me reaching out, just because, you know, I have a pretty big following, 60,000 people. And I remember my friend Algar Matthew mentioned recently, I think it was him, right? Oh shoot, I hope it was. No, maybe it wasn't. I apologize if it wasn't Algar. But one of my blogging buddies mentioned how when I wrote a guest post for them, instantly their traffic for their normal day or the post, whatever, it went up 50%. It's like, yeah, I have a pretty big following. When I promote it, I'm gonna get some juice. So really be grateful for that. And obviously some people are just like, you know, well, you know, and I understand there's fits, this and that, but gotta respond to every comment. And it's like, I'm not saying to be grateful so that I'm some great blogging god. What I'm saying is just when you're more compassionate, you understand why folks who are established seasoned pro bloggers who've built up their name and their rep and who've lived their dreams and yielded success, that they're busy. So be grateful. Like anytime somebody like John Lee Dumas comes by and leaves a 2-word comment on my blog, I'm approving it. That's freaking John Lee Dumas. I'm grateful. I'm compassionate. I know how busy this guy is. I know how busy guys like Zach Johnson are. He responds to emails sometimes in almost seconds or minutes, or just reaching out and tagging me. I mean, these guys, these are high rollers. These are big dogs. So when you realize how busy they are, even if you're not quite as busy, or through the art of cultivating that compassion, you'll know even if you're struggling or if you're impatient. And again, I get emails right back from 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours later the next day. Hey, did you get my email yet? How are you going to get me on Forbes? Guys, think of how busy folks are, and then think of how many responses and how many folks reaching out and people begging, and you'll understand by being compassionate, putting yourself in these folks' shoes, even if people love what they do and they're successful and they're having fun, they're still super busy. When you respect that fact, you reach out once and that's it. Maybe you follow up one time. If they don't respond, they're not responding. That's just the way that it is. It's just not a match for them. Or maybe they didn't even get to it. It's going to happen. You know, you have to think about not being attached, being compassionate, putting yourself in their shoes and saying, you know what, even with their success and them enjoying it, I'm not going to bug these people. I'm not going to project my fear on them by being not persistent, not even annoying, but just by attaching too much to them. Like, okay, I think they're going to be the one, they're going to make it. This is my avenue. No, you're thinking like they're thinking, you know what, I'm not nearly as busy as they are, but in the same respect, I understand they must be as busy as heck. Imagine if 1,000 people reached out to me every day through social media and through various channels. Then when you're doing that persistently, you're being that person who's compassionate, you'll understand that when somebody writes you a 2-sentence response, and maybe, you know, everybody else it was half a page, 400 or 500 words, you're going to take that person's name power. Ooh, what is that, a cat? What the heck's out here tonight? We're in parts unknown. And you will appreciate that one word, that 1-line response or that 2-line response from a person who has an established name, and get, you know what, they have so much to do. I should really be grateful for this 1-line response or for this paragraph response. Somebody else is writing a page. Ooh, it smells funky. What the heck was that? Oh boy. That's it. You think the wilderness of New Jersey, you wouldn't think so, but we do have a lot of creatures here. So guys, that's pretty much it for tonight. We'll call it a 10 about, or maybe a little bit more when I ramble on. No, you know how it is. But this is a really cool video, a little different, little nightly cardio. I'm not going to make it a nightly thing because, well, number one, when I run every other day. It'll be a little too much. And number two, it's all about pulling back. Tonight I just got this little inspiration though, and obviously it's a rough and ready, gritty feel, which I love. That's how I built my brand, playing up there. heading into the airport. So thanks so much for joining, everybody. Think about these 2 steps. Be compassionate with successful bloggers. If you want to move up in blogging circles, you will not bother these people. You will not annoy these people. You will not be ungrateful. You'll not say, hey, you know, I need a longer response here, buddy. It's understanding that what someone who's really up there in blogging circles, even though they aren't equal, energetically we're all equal, you do understand that they are clear on their direction, they've paid their dues, and be grateful that they respond. Be grateful to get any response. It's just the way that it is when you understand how busy they are. Put yourself in their shoes through compassion. And number 2, want to move in blogging circles, deal with your shit. I'm looking down now because it's going to get bumpy in this area, and rather than that face plant, although it probably again would look funny, not live video. So when you deal with your own fears that are fueling your obstacles, something very cool happens. It's unpleasant. You're going to eat a shit sandwich energetically. You're going to feel grief, anger, all that stuff. But you will gain so much more success so quickly because you won't resist the fear energy, which only makes the obstacles grow. You'll address them head on. You'll fear the fear behind it. When you dissolve that, you'll dive into guest posting. You'll dive into blog commenting. All these awesome channels that help you become successful. Guys, that's it for today. What's the call to action? Stop by bloggingfromparadise.com/ebooks and shop for my 126 ebooks on Amazon, all listed by category on bloggingparadise.com. Treat yourself to a few. Until next time, enjoy paradise.